Hey, everybody. I hope you're doing great. And today we're going to talk about how do you know if your intuition is right? So I'm really excited to dive in. But first things first, if you're brand new to me, my name is Whitney McNeil, and I'm a spiritual teacher and certified medium. And my passion is to help you really uncover your spiritual gifts, your intuition, like understanding how it comes in for you. And this one key really helps you to understand your spirit guides and your spiritual guidance. This helps you understand the messages coming in from your higher self. And when you do that, you're able to really align to your life purpose and why you're here. And also, it removes blocks to abundance. So I want you to create the life and the abundance that you truly deserve. So that's what I'm about. And I hope that you are also about that too. You're like, yes, I want this. So before we get started today and talking about how to trust your intuition or if my intuition is right, I do want to invite you to my free 5-day challenge next week if you've not signed up yet. We do this every time in celebration of Intuition Abundance Academy opening up again. But I just really love it because it's spreading the good vibes, especially in a year like 2020. So we're going to have prizes. We've got positive community. We've already got people inside of our group. And if you haven't signed up, please join us. It's at messengerspirit.com/expand. Hope to see you there soon. We've got fun surprises and really fun stuff that's going to be happening all next week. So I'll try to pop in with you before the challenge next week, but I'm going to be focusing a lot of my time and energy there. So come on in over to our Facebook group. All right, so let's talk about second guessing our intuition. I hear this so many times from students and people who are really wanting to understand their intuitive gifts, but they second guess themselves. And they're like, damn it, why didn't I listen to that? Have you been there? I've been there. And it's because our ego thinks it knows better. Our ego likes control and consistency and structure, and our intuition flows. It's like water, it's like air. And I like the symbolic form of air because our intuition we can't really see. It's like this intangible. But if you think of air, it's powerful, right? Like air can really just have so much power when it's focused. We think of this like in storms or wind gusts. So the same is with intuition. You might not be able to see it or touch it, but it's so powerful. So I hope that gives you a little bit more of, oh yeah, it's just like air. You breathe in air every day, right? You trust that you're going to be able to do that. And you're also knowing there's a powerful force. We utilize air, right? But we don't necessarily walk around and see it. Now, if we don't walk around and see it, but we still trust it's there, like we know that it's there when we need it, we know that it's there. So I'd like for you to kind of look and see, oh, wait a minute, my intuition is always right. But what then happens is people say, well, how do I know that it is? Like, I don't understand if it truly is right or if it's just me making stuff up. So then I like to say, okay, what are you doing to enhance your intuitive practice? And so what I'll see is some people are kind of like, yeah, I'll do it here today, and then I'll do it maybe on the weekend, but they're not being consistent in their efforts. And if you're not being consistent in your efforts with your intuition, that's problem number one. You need consistency. And also you need to have a time where you say, this is where I am developing my intuition, and whatever's coming through at this moment is going to be this intuitive message. And it might come through depending on your intuitive type in a different way. But if you're doing a million things and you're cleaning your house and you are doing your errands and you're trying to get your intuitive message, you are going to be very confused with what was your thought and what was your intuition. Your intuition does not normally come in like, boom, I'm here. Here's what it is. And I think sometimes we expect it to. Like, it can. It totally can, because we'll be like, no, do not do that. However, it does not happen like that often. So our spirit guides send us the messages. And if it's something that we really need to know, they'll make sure we get the message. What I'm talking about is your intuition on a daily basis. And so sometimes we logically are like, but I want to do this. I've put energy and money towards this project or towards this path, or I've been working at my job for 20 years. So I want to stay there so I can reap the benefits of when I get to 25 years or something. Our intuition might be like, no. And so one of the things I tell my students in Intuition Abundance Academy is to pay attention to your intuitive type. So sometimes when we don't know if our intuition is right or not, we're not paying attention to how our body feels. Your body is an instrument. Your body really is indicative of your intuition if you're following it. If you're tired, now I'm going to say this, with physical ailments totally eliminated, if you're tired and you feel grumpy, your emotional body, and then your physical body feels tired and like, oh, I just can't do this. Guess what? That's an intuitive feeling, like time to not do that anymore. And that would be like on an ongoing basis. So your intuition can come in so many different ways. It can come in through dreams. It can come in through your intuitive type. Now, I don't like to say dreams are necessarily intuition. It's a little bit different. But the four main types I'd love for you to get acquainted with. You're a seer, an owl, an empath, or a channeler. And you can have many of the different types, but usually there's a predominant one that comes through. So if you're still having trouble, even though you know your intuitive type, and you're like, I'm listening to my body and my body's saying this, and I'm making time, Whitney, what's going on? I'm going to say, have you cleared your mind? Have you cleared your mind? And so you have to have a clear mind in order to receive. If your mind's all jumbled up with a bunch of shit, you're not going to be able to receive your intuitive message. So you are going to be cluttering, and you can't receive when you've got clutter. This actually can also be in your physical space too. So you may want to start cleaning stuff up in your physical space, because as above, so below, and vice versa. So it's really important that you look at clearing your mind when you're receiving, and also making sure that you're doing a clearing your mind technique that does work for you and your type. For me, I prefer, when I'm like making a decision or I feel like there's a bunch of kind of anxious energy, to move my body. I've got to move my body. Maybe I go on walks. Maybe I will actually clean the house, or I am really kind of moving so that I'm moving all this stagnant energy so that I can have a clear receptive state. And then if you're still having trouble with, this is my intuition right or not, I would say to you that, are you too attached to the outcome? So allow yourself to detach to the answer that you want. I've seen this so many times. When I used to do readings, people would like ask me the same question 10 times. And I'm like, I can't change the answer. This is the answer. But when you're getting the message from yourself and your own intuition, from your spirit guides and your higher self, it's like, but I didn't want that answer. Maybe my intuition wasn't right. Or what happens is we'll get an answer and it's not bad, but like we feel scared about it. So it's like, oh, you mean I've got to like write a book and like send a proposal, or you want me to reach out to this person? That's your intuition. And so knowing that, to answer the question of how do I know if my intuition is right or not, my answer is it's always right. It is always right. I'm going to give you a personal example and then I will leave you today. So personal example, we were just talking about this the other day. My husband years ago was doing a proposal for one of his clients, and our intuition kept saying he was going to get it, but he didn't get it. So he's like, what? Like, why didn't I get this proposal? I swear I was going to get it. Like, we both felt like we were going to get it. And so I tapped in and I was like, well, I still think you're going to get it. It's just not in the timing we thought. Well, 3 years later, same client, a different proposal, he got it. So your intuition's never wrong. It's just sometimes we attach to what we want the answer to be. Like, we want the answer to be tomorrow. We want the answer to be 3 days from now. And your intuition can tell you too, like on the days or the time, but just really learn to follow it. So if you're watching the replay, I'd love for you to comment #replay or let us know. Hey, Joni, hey, Luli, and hey, Marta, and Diane, I want to read some of your comments. Joni says, I have a hard time knowing what's my intuition and what's my thought. I definitely need help. Joni, did you sign up for our free 5-day challenge? We're going to work on that. And I think that you're going to get really helpful information, especially on day 3, 4, and 5. And I think it's day 3, actually, that we start working on intuition. And then we really start talking about different ways in day 4 and 5. So we talk about it. But what I'll say is, you've got to create space and consistency. And I'll talk to you more about this on day 5, but you've got to create a consistent time. And in that time, you are working on your intuition and you're not allowing any other distractions to come through. And so you've got to create space, because if you don't create space, how are you going to know if it's an intuitive message or not? And what I will say is, the more that you do this, the more that you work on your intuition, the more easier it is to recognize. I call it like an energetic imprint of intuition. What happens is our thoughts are like predominant, right? They're like physical, tangible, almost. Like, that's the best way I can describe it. However, our intuition is like back here. So it's like a whisper. It's not like a yelling. It's like a whisper that's like, hey, this is what I think. And then the more consistent that you are with your exercises, the more your intuition comes through even more, so that it balances out and you can recognize it a little bit more. So hopefully that helps. Joni, I'm glad you signed up. Diane says, I think I have some ability, but really don't know how to use it. Diane, I hope to see you in the challenge. We're going to talk about it. There's 4 main types. And by the way, Diane, if you haven't taken the quiz, you can go to messengerspirit.com/quiz, and it will help you determine your intuitive type. But we're going to go through it in more detail next week, day 3, 4, and 5. So Louise says, thank you, thank you. Marta says she overthinks a lot. Yes. So what I do when I overthink is I will move my body to get the energy out. So Marta, I don't know if you're aware if you are a channeler, an empath, a seer, or an owl. But what I will say, and it can be with any type, I'm going to say that. But what I'll say is, with channelers, I see a lot of logical analyzation that happens. And so channelers is what I call those who are claircognizants. They are so connected into spirit, but they don't know it. They're connected more in their body. I have a strong language of being a channeler. So seer is my primary, channeler is probably my secondary. And it's more so, I'm thinking. It's like you got to get your brain to stop. And your intuition doesn't come through in your brain. It comes through in your mind. So brain's one thing, mind's different. Mind's is outside the body. And you've got to clear the mind to allow your messages to come through. Hey, Ginger, good to see you. So Beth says, when you say intuition, is that your inner feeling? So this is a great question. Your intuition is your connection to receiving spiritual guidance. So that's you and your spirit guides. You could also look at it as being you and your higher self, but it's you receiving messages from spirit for your own benefit. Mediumship is you receiving messages from spirit and then you're telling somebody else. So intuition's 2 parts, and we cover that in our challenge. But everyone's intuition comes in differently. We are designed very differently. So some people are clairvoyant, and that's their intuition. Some people are empathic and they feel, that's their intuition. Some people hear messages and some people just know it or their body reacts to it. Those who are channelers are claircognizant, which is the body reacts or just pops into their mind. But oftentimes they don't think that they are intuitive at all, because it's just so natural to them that they don't recognize it as intuition, because the movies talk about gut feelings, and they talk about, seeing images and hearing. So your inner feeling, if you're talking about gut feeling, yeah, that can be your intuition 100%, but you can also have some other ways that you receive it too. Hey, Donna, good to see you as well. Let me see if I can go through some of these questions. Tracy says, is it okay if we can't join live? Will we still get the benefits and learning? Yes, this is a great question. Thank you for asking. I do encourage you to show up live, because we're going to have some special announcements next week that are time sensitive. And also we'll be giving away some prizes for those who are live. But you can still qualify for prizes if you watch the replay. So what I'll say to you, Tracy, sign up anyway. And you're still going to get the benefit. You're still going to interact with the group, but you can watch the replay of our training that day so you don't feel like you fall behind. You'll have it in the group, and the training does expire at a certain amount of time. I don't know the date off the top of my head, but I know it's going to expire by September 20th. So you want to make sure to just watch it as soon as you can afterwards. But yes, you can, absolutely. I've had some people that come in, they can't watch it during the week. They might want to watch it on the weekend. But there's some time-sensitive announcements on Thursday and Friday of next week that if you can make it live, I would totally recommend it. All right, so Marta says she's a healer. That is awesome. Jan says, is the issue about trust then? Yeah, that's the big one. Second guessing and trusting. That is just humongous. That's really the issue, is not trusting. So when we're seeing something or we're feeling something, a lot of times we're like, that doesn't make any sense. I'm not going to do it. That's crazy. Or we have like this, you should do this. And we don't do it because it makes more logical sense to operate from our brain instead of our intuition. Where unfortunately, when we're younger, we stop operating from our intuition unless it's taught to us when we're young and our parents nurture it for us. So it's important to bring it back into the primary, into the top burner, the front burner instead of the back burner. I don't even know if that's a word, but you get what I'm saying. So trust is the big one. And one of the things that I talk about to help people trust their intuition is to write it down. Write down what comes through in a journal every day and then comes back. Chandra's one of my students, and she is now part of our team, which I'm really excited. But she is a channeler, and so she always got messages in her body. And so she's somebody that's kind of like, I don't know, like it was almost like she didn't think she was intuitive. And so she'll say, okay, I have my meeting with my guys, and I will write it down, and it doesn't make any sense at the time, but 3 days later, I look back at the notes and it makes sense. That helps you trust for sure. Jan says, for this to work, do you have to know the law of attraction works first? No, you don't. That's a universal law. And so it's a great law. It's a great way to look at manifesting, but you don't have to know anything about that at all. You can just understand that your intuition comes through and it really doesn't have anything to do with it. And so they're two separate things. They're great to blend together, but they're definitely two different things. Think of this like you have a personal assistant and your personal assistant gives you messages and you go, okay, thanks for the information. Well, that's the same with intuition. Your spirit guides give you a message and you're like, thanks, I appreciate that. That's good information. So that's all intuition is. We're just communicating in spirit form. And remember, everybody, we are spirit. We are spirit and a physical body. So guess what? That means we are in the physical world and the spiritual world at the same time. We have a physical body, and then outside of our physical body is our spiritual body, our emotional body, our mental body. And so we're operating right now talking to spirit. And so what that means is it's not so crazy to think that we can talk to spirit, because we are spirit. We're already talking to ourselves, and I'm talking to you and your spirit. That means I'm talking to spirit. What we're doing is just increasing our awareness of what's around us, which is really nice. Tracy says, I signed up but live in a different time zone, so can't join during my work days, so I can still get benefit. Yes, absolutely. I'm excited for you. All right. So Joni says, what was a site to see what type you are? You can go to messengerofspirit.com/quiz. And that is a quiz that will help you determine your intuitive type. It is not the exhaustive list. Like, we all have different intuitive types. And so sometimes when people take the quiz, they're like, well, I didn't know which answer to choose. So what I'll say is choose the answer that you just feel drawn to. There's no right or wrong. It's just going to help you determine. Now, you could have like a tie, but the way the software is designed, it's only going to choose one, like the one that you responded most to. And we are going to go over those inside of our 5-day challenge. So you're going to get all the information that you need with it. But if you wanted to check out the quiz, you can do that too. Diane says, I see the number 222 constantly. Awesome. That's coming in from your spirit guides. I talk about that being tangible signs. And Marta said, I'm driving. Can someone get the website, please? Yes, I'm going to actually do that for you because my team has some stuff going on right now. So I'm putting that in there. Actually, I think it actually worked. Nice. Hopefully that gets to you. Sometimes I can't type from the software that he used here. Awesome. I have one last question here. Beth says, when one gets a good feeling about something, is that our intuition? Most likely, yes. but we've got emotions too, right? We get the warm and fuzzies with people. So what I'll say to you, Beth, is that you want to make sure that you're really working on your intuition and that you trust it so that you can determine if it feels good or not. Sometimes we just feel like, yeah, I feel really good about this. Most of the time, I'd say that's your intuition. But if you're getting the warm and fuzzies, then sometimes that's your emotions going on. So awesome. Hi, Skyla. Good to see you. All right. I'm going to go ahead and jump off. I will see all of you on Monday, right? You're going to get in the challenge. So Monday, September 14th, we kick off, and you can go to messengerspirit.com/expand. And that's the next time I will see you. But please make sure you're checking your email. So we've had this little issue where our emails are not hitting the primary inbox. If you're a Gmail user, if you can't find us in your inbox, look in the promotions tab. And if we're in the promotions tab, you just drag that email with your mouse over into the primary tab. Usually we are on the phones, like if you check your email on the phone, but if you check it on desktop or laptop, make sure you drag it over there. Same goes with tablets too. And just make sure that you mark us as a contact so that we end up in your inbox or safe sender. Because once you sign up, we're going to send you emails with a calendar of events. We're going to send you emails on how to get into our Facebook group where all the training will be. And we are going to be sending you your daily worksheet. So the only way to get your daily worksheet for over the 5 days is through your email. So I want to make sure you've got it, right? All right. I will see you all next week, and I hope you have a beautiful weekend. Bye.